Today, we're going to talk to an automotive veteran. He's got more experience than I do and a lot of people in the workforce today. So we're going to hear some information about how he feels about today's market versus all the other markets. And we're going to pick up some golden nuggets. So we're going to jump right into that conversation right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Doug to the feed. Doug, tell us all about you. Where are you located in the country? And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, my name's Doug Wolford. I am located in Louisville, Kentucky. I have been in the automobile business 41 years. I owned a Nissan dealership with my ex for 29 years in Louisville Nissan dealership. I was the chairman of the Kentucky Auto Dealership Association in 2009 and 2010, and been on their board for, 20 years. I was a representative go up to Washington, D.C. back in the day where, right when the financial strife started, and we saved the auto dealers from being classified as a bank, which was a huge win. Since then, I sold my dealership and went into, I started back from the beginning. I retired for a little bit, enjoyed life a little bit, and then I said, you know what? This is not me. I'm not talking to enough people. I'm not getting involved. I've got to get back into the car business. I thought, they'll just jump all over me and I'll just start off, run a dealership. I found that a little more difficult, especially when I get my age. Anyway, I went back and finally I knew some guys, and I said, hey, I'll start from the beginning. That's fine. So I started as a salesman and learned the system, which I didn't know. I mean, you got to remember, I'm 68. When I was 68, there was no computers. Anyway, learned that, was going to be salesman of the year, selling 30 cars a month back then it would have been a 61-year-old, I guess, 62-year-old. But my feet couldn't handle the concrete. So I said to the general manager, I said, I can work these service customers. And if you set me up a decent pay plan, I'll work these service customers and turn them into sales. And he gave me a pay plan. It was a horrible pay plan, but my feet couldn't handle it. So I took the pay plan. Yeah, I took it. Well, anyway, long story short, bingo, I started selling some cars. And while all the other guys were out on the lot smoking their cigarettes, I'm in there grinding, making phone calls. Long and the short of it is, rocked and rolled in that store. Moved on to a Hyundai store, which was doing very poorly. They had a system in there called E-Leads, which is a nice system. And I finally started learning that. We were doing pretty good at it. Then my owner said, hey, I want you to try this auto alert program. I said, oh man, I just learned this E-Leads program. I don't really want to learn this new system. Anyway, he said, here it is. You're not going to have it, so you might as well learn it. I said, okay. So I took all the tests they had, and wasn't very difficult, but I started playing with it, and I was starting to do pretty good at it. Selling about 30 cars in a Hyundai dealership that wasn't doing that all that well, which was really good. Well, the general manager come by. He was the GM for both stores, the Hyundai and the Toyota store, and he says, I told him, I said, listen, man, if you let me go over to that Toyota store, I think I can sell you 50 cars a month with this program. And he looked at me and didn't say much left. The next month, he put me in place at that Toyota store. And for and auto alerts, all I had. So I had one single office, an old man sitting in the corner, right behind the service, and had access to the showroom, about 40, 50 feet. So I got to rocking with auto alert, and I guess it was the third month that I had been at that Toyota store, and probably only the fourth month on auto alert, I sold 95 cars. The dealer was blown away. All the salesmen come back and say, we don't know what you're doing, but you're the owner's favorite right now. I said, listen, brother, I'm just following this program and doing what I do, and we're doing good. So we put that system together. I think I did another 90 car month, a few months after that, but I averaged about 66 65, 66 with Auto Alert. And anyway, moved on to St. Louis, Missouri, to where I'm at now, working for the Suntrop Auto Group. I did so because I took care of my mom and dad. They lived on a farm across the river from St. Louis. And I thought, well, while I'm taking care of mom and dad, I might as well get a job too. So I went into the Suntrops and I said, hey, I'd like to come work for you. I said, I've got a program I'd like to bring aboard. They said, well, we don't know right now. I said, tell you what, I'll just work for nothing. Just give me your list for your lease customers. I'll work for nothing. They were blown away. I mean, I've known this voice for a while, but they were blown away. And it's oh, what's he doing? Let him do it. Anyway, in 2 weeks, I sold 18 cars off that list. The next thing it was on. We had Auto Alert, and I've been working for Suntrop now for 6 years. So I've had a couple of heart surgeries. So I moved back to Louisville, where my home is originally, and where all my doctors are. So the Suntrop's been gracious enough to let me keep on working from home, which is a whole new avenue, a whole new enlightenment in itself, because now I've got to do it all from home, and I've got to have that customer believe in me. I've got to have that customer believe to get in. Then once they get in, I've got to make them comfortable on the phone. So it's really improved me. But that's where I'm at right now.
So, Doug, I believe in you, and I would have you work from phone too. Well, thanks for hopping on. That is quite the resume, and that is how you do it in a nutshell. You are a representative of the auto business, and I'm happy to have you. So let's do this. Let's hop into some questions because I want to pick your brain. You've been around the block. You've seen a lot of different changes in the industry. You've probably been a part of a lot of them. Thank you for your service. So the first question I want to get out in the open is, what is it like selling cars in 2023? This year specifically, I know you've been remote, but just the way the market's been going, how was it selling this year?
Well, it's got a lot tougher. It's been a weird year. It really has. You know, we still were having the tail end of that COVID, which it was. I mean, it wasn't much selling there. I mean, it was customers coming in, they wanted that car, and they were paying it up. I just wonder how a customer feels right now, or he bought a Chevy Suburban, and now they're advertising $10,000 off. But that was the first half of the year. The second half of the year, it was tough because we didn't have any inventory. But you know how the manufacturers are. They're bringing it on. They're getting it on. They're bringing it on. So now we've got a bunch of inventory. But now we're back to wheeling and dealing, but everybody else is too. So it's a tough business right now. It's back to being tough. And because of interest rates, it's really made it more difficult all the way around.
Okay. Well, with that, what are some of the things you did just to kind of sidestep some of those challenges? So let's take interest rates for instance. How are you kind of getting over that objection?
Well, I tell the customer, I said, remember, interest rates go up and they go down. So don't think of interest rates as here and they're going to be here forever. They're not. So if I got a retail customer and that's an interest rate question, I just tell them that. I said, hey, do yourself a favor. If you like the car and it's a good deal, buy it, because let's say the interest rates go down in the next year or two, you can refinance if you want to. I don't bring that refinance up too often, but because I don't want to have any chargebacks on the dealer end. But it is true. I mean, rates go up and they go down.
You heard it here first, everybody. Use the gravity pitch. What goes up must come back down.
That's right.
Let's stick on the topic of challenges. What have been some of the more consistent challenges in selling cars today in general? So you've been through a lot of shifts in automotive. The state of automotive right now, what's the most challenging thing about selling?
Well, it's obviously the interest rates come into play because that brings the payment factor in. And payments are up there now. The manufacturers, as usual, they raised their price because they thought they could. And so prices of cars have gone up as well. So, the challenges are some folks have credit issues you got to overcome, some negative equity. The values of used cars have dropped so quickly. I mean, it is amazing. Like I said, I've been doing it for 41 years. I've never seen the prices of used cars drop as dramatically as they have. And the group that I work for, the Sun Trips, I mean, they're on top of their ball game. The managers don't like it, but I mean, we're taking deals. We're losing money on used cars if we have to, because it's not lining up with the books. So we don't want to get hooked up with a whole bunch of used cars there. So that's a big challenge because, 6 months ago, I put a pencil together on a car. I can't depend on that pencil now because those used cars have dropped. So that's probably as big a challenge as I can say right now, is trying to overcome the values dropping and get those people out of that car with a payment they can afford.
Yeah. So I'd say the challenge hasn't necessarily moved that much from a normal year, except for it's accentuated on this inventory thing. What's for you? What's the difference in a good month and a bad? Like, what makes a good month for you? I know you sell a lot of cars, Doug, so don't hold the feet to the fire because not everybody can sell like you. What's a good month for Doug? What's a bad month? And do you think the market has the industry itself has anything to do with that?
Oh yeah, the manufacturer has a ton to do with everything. I don't know. I've sold 20 cars, and I thought that was a good month, and I've sold 65 cars. I thought was a good month. It all depends on what you had to deal with. If you had a lot to overcome, and you did a good job of overcoming, it takes more time to do that. One of the things I found out is you got to make a friend with an individual customer. If you can make the friendship click with a customer, you can create them to do anything for you. And that's where it makes a successful month. I mean, if you worked hard, brought them over to your side, and I kind of look at myself as a financial analyst for the automobile business for a customer. So, a good month could be 30, it could be 20, it could be 60. It all depends on what you had to overcome and how successful you were.
Yeah, I could agree with that. So let's just look at the 12 months in the year. Do you see any trends? Like, hey, when it's wintertime, the sales are going to pretty much taper off, or are there general spikes all over the year? What are the trends that you have noticed over the years?
Well, the trends that I see coming right now is, my God, it never fails. If we're able to take advantage of the situation, the dealer naturally is going to do it. I mean, when we were short on cars, we increased prices. I mean, everybody did. The problem you got now, and you're going to have here coming up, is how you going to get those people out of those cars that you made a lot of money on. You made a lot of money on them a few years ago. Now what are you going to do when they come back? Because now you got to overcome that. Now you got to explain why their car is so far underwater, or their payments are going so much higher because, we can't get them out of that. I mean, that's what I worry about. That's what I think. Well, I know it's coming. So you better have your troops trained. You better have a game plan. How you going to overcome that? You might have to take a short deal. The dealers might have to, you gobbled it up when you could. Now you better take the small bites the next time around. Otherwise, you're going to lose some customers. We lost customers, and everybody lost customers during this last couple of years of COVID, because they were making so much money and they wouldn't take the short deal. Some guy came in there and said, hey, I read someplace where a guy paid, He said he was the world's best shopper, and he said, I bought a car during COVID. I paid sticker. And they all go, wait a minute, you never pay sticker. He said, you know what? Compared to what everybody's paying, I felt that was a great deal. So there's the world's best shoppers paying stickers. So when these folks come around this next time and they pay it up, it's going to be a challenge for the dealer. So get ready, Mr. Dealer. It's coming back on us.
Yeah. And that's kind of how the world turns. And I think, there's a silver lining in that if you got the right systems in place to handle that. Because if you know your database, you're going to be able to isolate the ones who can do something. And yeah, we're going to have to take some shorter deals. That's just the way.
That's where auto alerts is just the killer, because you already know what you can do with a customer before you call them. So in some cases, you'd rather not call them versus the dealer handing out a bunch of names to salesmen and say, hey, call them. And they don't have a clue. So that way you don't piss the customer off by calling them, or you can't get them out.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say to you, but I was told to call you. So thanks for answering.
That's right. And they get mad, and that's the worst. Like I said, you want to call and make a friend. You don't want to call and make an enemy.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads me to my next question. What's some information that you wish you had every time you pick up the phone or every time you showed up to work? What would you add to your day that will make your job a breeze?
Oh, my goodness. I really don't have a problem there because, I use auto alerts. So I got everything. I got all my arsenal right there in front of me, and I got more people than I can call on a daily basis, which is a good problem.
Sounds like Doug is an assistant. So if you're out there and you want to make easy phone calls and bring in customers to sell vehicles, you can be Doug's assistant. I'll drop.
Don't let Butch Sunship see this podcast, because guess what? He's already got that in mind.
All right. Yeah, we'll be having some 90 a month car months again.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, that's my goal every month. Yeah. Well, my goal is every month to be number one in the country, to be honest with you. I got as high as number 5. So I was, just beyond me.
We're gonna
there you go.
There. We're gonna get you in number 1. So
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Talk about what?
Let's talk about the customer for a second. Okay.
Okay.
You probably talk to more customers than a lot of salespeople out there just because of how you do business. So what's something you wish customers knew about the car buying experience or about the business itself? What's something you wish that they knew or information that they could use when they're working with you?
I wish when the customer would understand that when you come into a car dealership, if you run into somebody that knows what they're doing, whether it's experience or whatever, understand that they're there to help you, really. It's so often customers come with a chip on their shoulder. I tell you a funny story. And I've done this. When I've got an ornery customer, when I got a customer that's just as negative and nasty as they could possibly be, I walk over to them or I reach up to them. That's when I was at the dealership. Right now, unfortunately, I got to be at home. But anyway, I'd reach up to them and I'd kind of sweep their top of their shoulder. And they go, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I'm getting that chip off your shoulder. That chip off your shoulder, man, you must hate car people. And 9 out of 10 laugh. And once I get them laughing, then we're okay. We have that 1 out of 10. You can't make him happy no matter what happens. But even he lightens up, because who's going to go up there and sweep their shoulder and say, hey, man, you got a chip.
Hey, with your consent, I would like to remove this giant chip off of your shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, well, people, and that's what salesmen, that's what they need to do, man. They need to do something out of the box that's funny and friendly, and just ask them some good questions. What I tell, and nothing's changed in the car business from this standpoint. Ask the questions. What do you do? Where do you work? How many kids you got? Where do you go with the car? I mean, the basics of the basics are there, and when they're talking, you're in charge, and when you're talking, you're not. So get on, forget about the car. That's what I say. Forget about the car. Let's get on to a conversation of who I'm talking to, where you're at. I'll write down their names. I write down their kids' name. Whoever's here with me, I want to know everything about them. And I want them to talk. Tell me what you're looking for. So they can, after a while, they go, hey, this dude's pretty good. I mean, I've had people come back and say, hey, I paid $500 more to buy the car from you than from the other dealership because I like the way you do business. Now, that's the best compliment in the world in the car business. And I think that's what salesmen should strive for. At the end of the day, at the end of the negotiations, everything, the guy's a good dude, man. He felt happy about it, and that's what it's all about. And then that's what I wish. That's what I wish I could, I could help people, the customer, know that it's not bad when you walk into a car dealership. It's actually helpful. It's actually, they're going to do a good job for you.
Absolutely. And I think that is the best version of what we can present as an industry, as professionals. That's the foot we want to put forward, and we can do it because we're the reason that the stereotype exists. So we can be the reason that the stereotype is shifted and changed back to what it was meant to be. I got a couple more questions for you before I get you out of here.
All right.
So here's an easy, more fun one. What's easier to sell, new cars or used car? In any market, not just in these market conditions.
Oh, I think new, just because, a lot of people, that might be their first new car. It's got the freshness of the smell. It's got the new gadgets, the up-to-date technology. Yeah, I've told customers more and more and more and more. I said, with the price of these cars getting higher and higher and higher, you really need to look at getting out of your cars earlier and earlier and earlier. Because that old saying, let's run them till the wheels fall off, that's the dumbest thing they can ever do. I mean, the absolute dumbest thing. To take a customer and sit there and multiply 84 months times that payment and say, brother, do you want to look up and you got 100 some odd thousand miles, but you pat yourself on your back because you run it to the ground and you paid that much money? Good job, dumbass. What you really need to do, you need to be trading every 3 years where that car has value. The car's going to drop, after 4 years, 5 years quicker. So once you trade every 2 or 3 years, if you can, that's a beautiful thing about Auto Alert, is because it tells you can. Customers never know that unless you call them. They don't know. So you call them up and say, hey, man, come on in. I wanted to upgrade you to a new car, no money down. Would you? And it'll be your same payment. The customer's like, I got to check this out, don't I? And I mean, I've taken customers out 6 months after they bought a car. I've taken customers out 12 months, 18 months. They laugh at me. I know when I was at the Toyota store, the joke was one gal came in and she upgraded to a car, and one of the salesmen said, well, you got about 18 months of time where you got to listen to hear from Doug again. And she starts chuckling. She goes, yeah. She goes, I'll kind of miss those Friday night 7 o'clock phone calls from Doug. They just see if I got called her on 7 o'clock on every Friday, or not every Friday, but about every other Friday, your reminder. But upgrading every 18 months, who's going to complain about that? Everybody loves it. Everybody loves a new car. So there's your answer. New wins out.
New wins out. All right. I will leave you with a couple of things here. We were going to get into a few other conversations, but I want to get you to your next. your next deal here. If you could pick any superpower, what would it be? And would you tell anybody that you had that superpower?
If I had the opportunity to have a superpower, being able to heal people, people that are hurt, people that got sickness, people that got cancer, I would heal them. Because I think if they're healed, I learned how to take care of my father. I took care of him until he passed away in his farmhouse. And that was tough to see your dad, but, he had a lot of years. But he went through some tough times before he passed away. When I have an opportunity to see a young child, that's got cancer or some sickness, that would be, if I had that power. And heck yeah, I would tell people about it. I would, if I could help them heal their whatever's going on with them, and then also heal the psychological part these days. People are so messed up nowadays because they got a lot of fear. Can I afford this? They got a lot of, issues mentally. I'd like to heal them too. So if I had the power of healing, I guess that would be my number one.
Hey, I like that. I like that a lot. Doug, thank you for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug, the man himself. If you got questions about Doug, if you want to ask Doug anything, jump down in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe, like this, share this. There's a lot of golden nuggets in here with a lot of history and information from someone who's done it the best. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug, thank you for joining me today. This episode.
Thank you.
All right. And there you have it. We want to thank Doug for coming on The Feed. This is episode 2 of The Feed. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to hear more or see more content about the automotive professional. This is for you. This is for us. This is by us. And if you want someone else to join us on the podcast, comment below, like, share, subscribe, and check out all of our other social media platforms. This has been another episode of The Feed. Take care.